everyone, I'm Jessica Stutzman and welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. Lead has long been recognized as a harmful environmental pollutant and poses severe threats to the health of children in this country. Poisoning occurs when too much lead gets into the body through the skin or from breathing, eating, or drinking the substance unknowingly. Joining us today to inform our viewers on the hazards and mitigation of lead exposure is Kelly Neville, Director of Finances and Administration for the Erie Redevelopment Authority. Kelly, thank you so much for being here today with us. Why don't we jump into the summary of the Lead Hazard Control Program, something that you are extremely familiar with and you have really been working with this for so many years.
Yeah, definitely, sure. So the authority has been awarded a grant through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to identify and mitigate the existence of lead-based paint hazards in qualifying homes throughout Erie County. The primary purpose of this program is to eliminate the lead hazards that exist within much of the local housing stock and to ultimately reduce the instances of lead poisoning in the area's children. The program includes the testing and identification of the lead hazards, development of a written work scope designed to mitigate or control the identified hazards. Some examples of work may include window and door replacements, flooring, siding, carpentry repairs, things like that. And then also in addition to financial and technical assistance to the homeowners.
And who qualifies for this program?
Property owners that are low to moderate income that occupy a property, or property owners that rent to low to moderate income families with homes built before 1978. The property does have to be built prior to that in order to qualify. So they do have to meet the income guidelines. For example, a family of four residing at a residence can exceed $54,400, just as an example. So it's 80% AMI are the income guidelines.
Okay, and mention the year of the home one more time, just so our viewers can make note of it.
1978.
Okay,
yes.
And after that, I think that contractors and builders realized that lead in paint was a problem and have modified their building techniques. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Kelly, we just talked about who qualifies for the program, but based on your grant funding, is there any cost to the property owner or to the renting family?
Yes and no. So if a family applies and they own and occupy the residence, there is no cost other than it's a $50 administrative cost, and that's only if we know for sure the work is going to go through. There's no lien against the property, nothing like that, so it's a great program. Now for landlords, they benefit from it pretty well. However, they are responsible to pay 20% of the total project cost, and then 80% is covered by the grant, which is a great deal for a landlord. I mean, they're improving their property, they're making it lead safe for their current tenants and then even future tenants down the road. There is a 3-year lien placed against landlords' properties. The theory behind that is basically so they can't profit off of federal funds. Mm-hmm. We want them to keep it and make a good faith effort to rent to low to moderate income families.
Okay, great. And again, if you live in this property, this program is available to you at no cost minus the administration fee.
Correct.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great.
Yes.
And what's the next step? After you have completed and approved an application, where do we go next?
Well, once the application has been approved, an inspection of the property will be scheduled. So that essentially consists of our program manager going out to the property, evaluating it, taking pictures of the different rooms, the inside, the outside, taking measurements, just basically making sure it's structurally sound and would in fact qualify for the program.
Okay, and what happens after you have determined where the lead is? What if it's in one place or in multiple places? What happens next?
Well, after the lead inspection risk assessment is complete, which is done by a risk assessor that we have in-house at the authority, formal work scope is written, and the project is sent out to bid to multiple lead abatement contractors. After the contract has been awarded to that winning contractor, the homeowner and the contractor enter into an agreement to have the work completed. And typically work begins within a few weeks after that agreement is signed.
Okay, and so the process is moving along quickly here. Are the occupants allowed to remain in the home while the work is being done? Because sometimes I'm sure it's, a door being removed and reinstalled, or windows. Can we remain in the house while all this work is being done?
Occupants are not able to remain in the home during remediation due to several safety concerns. The safety concerns being exposure to the lead dust would probably be the number one. For example, if you're replacing a window or a door, that would cause lead dust exposure. If they're ripping the window out, it's creating that dust from the old chipping paint. So only lead certified workers are allowed to be on the job site, but the lead program does provide funding to relocate occupants to go to a hotel during the time that the work is being done.
And how long does this job usually take from start to finish for the contractor?
Typically, depending on the size of the job, we usually estimate between 5 and 10 days.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really
so
quick.
It's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you're in your a mini staycation.
Yes.
You get your home renovated to have this lead abated, and then how do you know it's safe to come back?
Well, once construction is complete, clearance testing is performed, which consists of dust wipes of various areas of the work that was recently performed. So these results are sent out to a lab to be tested. The levels must be below a certain level in order to deem the property lead safe. Once we receive verification of the test passing, we would reach out to the homeowners, let them know that the house is in fact lead safe and they are able to return home.
Okay. And how do you educate the public for someone whose home you just did the abatement for, or for others in the community who may have a lead problem? How do you educate everyone?
Well, we do a lot of education. Our staff regularly attends various outreach events throughout Erie County. At these events, we obviously promote the program, and then we educate families on the dangers of lead poisoning. We have brochures, we have handouts, we have booklets, we have all kinds of materials that families can take home and read, and they can also call our office and speak with one of our staff members and ask any questions relating to lead remediation, lead poisoning, things like that.
And what are some of the health risks or concerns from lead poisoning for children and or adults?
Well, lead poisoning is super serious in young children. It can affect the nervous system, developmental delays, brain damage. It affects the nervous system, probably is the most effective one.
And when I know the last time we spoke, I contacted our pediatrician and I told him that I wanted our daughter to be tested for lead. Our house is definitely built before 1978?
Yes.
Okay, our house is definitely built before then, and so I was concerned. We definitely had old windows and old doors. Before I talk about how to get children tested, where do we find lead in a house? Is it just the windows and doors? Is it toys? Where is everywhere we should look?
Mainly we see it in the windows and doors. Window sills are a big one for little kids because they like to pull themselves up on it and their hands touch it, and all that chipping and peeling paint will land right on the windowsill, which in older homes usually the windows are a lot lower to the floor, so that's perfect height for young children to be playing near. So they touch the windowsill, they put their hands in their mouth, and even that lead dust can fall down on the floor under their toys. They play with their toys, they're touching that, and again, the hand to mouth is the most serious concern when you're dealing with lead dust. So windows, doors, and then even flooring too. It could be underneath the carpeting, same thing with kids playing on the floor. So there's just multiple ways that the children could be exposed to the lead dust in the older homes.
Yes, and we both know kids touch everything and always instantly either put that toy in their mouth or put their fingers in their mouth. Lola's toys are underneath the windowsills. Her books are, under a different window. And that really scared me, again, being in an older home. So we did have her tested, and it was very, very simple. We got our results back right away, and thankfully she didn't have lead poisoning, so we were very grateful for that. But instantly after that, it really spurred us to renovate the windows and get brand new windows and doors. So,
and even in older homes, they can still be lead safe as long as you're keeping the hazards intact. So, you may have an old door or, a wall that was painted with lead-based paints, but if it's intact and it's not chipping or peeling, then it's not a hazard. Until it starts being cracked and starts chipping, then at that point you need to be nervous. But if it's intact, there shouldn't be any concerns.
Absolutely. And so contractor training, what do the contractors have to do to mitigate this properly?
So the authority provides lead abatement classes throughout the course of the grant at a reduced cost to the contractors to help kind of lessen the burden of the costs. The classes consist of lead supervisor and worker initials, refresher courses for those two, and then we also put on an RRP class, which is Renovate, Repair, and Paint certification. So we require all those certifications for anybody that is going to be bidding on the work and that will be on the job site.
Okay, and has the COVID-19 pandemic affected your work in any way?
It has not affected it too much as far as with applications coming in. We've had a surplus of applications. Our only problem right now is the lack of contractors that we have that have all the certifications to actually be a lead abatement contractor, and also the fact that applicants are a little more hesitant on leaving their home and going to a hotel. But we have spoke with all the hotels that we use, and they're all using proper cleaning techniques, and they've partnered with, the one hotel that we work with is the Homewood Suites, and they've partnered with Lysol, so they have all their rooms are disinfected properly. So that's a little more reassuring if a family does in fact have to relocate during the time of remediation. Okay,
so we have viewers watching this show. Remind us one more time, if this is something we think that would be good for our home or our rental property, or we know of somebody who would benefit from this, remind us again, how do we get in touch with you? What information is needed for the application? Let's go through that one more time, just so we leave our viewers with that message.
Okay. So if you are, in fact, nervous that maybe your child has lead poisoning, or you would like to get your house tested, so first and foremost, you'd want to schedule an appointment with your child's pediatrician to get them tested. And then at that point, if they do in fact have elevated levels, you'll want to contact us immediately. With the program, we prioritize. So if your child is elevated, we will jump them to the top of the list. And then at that point, we will mail you an application. You'll fill it out, you'll get all the supporting documentation needed, and then you'll mail it into us, drop it us, however you want to do that. And then we would review everything. We'd kind of probably go back and forth in case we were missing anything, and then we would get out there right away to schedule an inspection.
Kelly, you've been doing this for a long time. Without naming any names, can you tell us of a recent, and they're all success stories, but can you tell us of a recent success story of somebody who went through this program and had the abatement done? What positivity comes out of this?
Oh, definitely. We recently had a child that had elevated levels. It was a family of 9, so it was the parents, mom and dad, and they had 7 children. And 2 out of those 7 children had very high levels. We got in there as soon as we could. We did an exorbitant amount of work, and they called us after the work was completed in tears, just with how happy they were and at ease they were, because their children couldn't be poisoned anymore, and the property was lead safe, and they couldn't thank us enough. So that was good to hear.
And then is it a good idea after the abatement to get the children retested after a certain time?
Yes, we don't follow up with that, but if they do start, in fact, have the elevated level at the first test, then the pediatrician most likely would recommend a repeat test to see, because the levels can decrease. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to get them tested again.
And if you happen to know, what is an elevated level for a child?
Anything higher than a 5. So it's a chart that HUD uses and doctor's office uses. So if the level comes in at a 5 or a higher, then that in fact is considered dangerous and action needs to be taken.
And our time is coming to a close here. Is there anything else that you want to leave our viewers with today? Because I know that you care so much about this work and the families that you're helping. So what can we leave our viewers with today?
Probably just the fact that we encourage all parents to get their children's blood and lead levels tested. And typically it happens around the age of 1, but again, speak with your child's pediatrician to see what they recommend. And just educate yourselves on the dangers of lead poisoning. If maybe you don't know the age of your house, find that out. And call us if you have questions. Even if you were to not qualify for the program, we're still there for assistance and education purposes. We can be reached at area code 814-870-1540.
Callie, thank you so much for coming on the show with us here today. Like I said, many years ago when we first spoke, you inspired me to do this. And so I just want to thank you for keeping my family, healthy and safe. And we just want to get the word out for other families in the community. Again, if you do not qualify, please still call their office. You guys are of great help, great assistance. But if you do qualify, you know what, this is fantastic. And we can help you. So
absolutely.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jessica.
Yes, of course. Viewers, again, we learned such really important information on lead poisoning today, and the Erie Redevelopment Authority is here to help you. So I want to thank you for tuning in to the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.